I'm here with Dez of DevilDriver to talk about Dealing with Demons Volume 2, out May 12th on Napalm Records. First of all, I want to say thank you for taking the time to join me on my channel. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. No problem, man. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Real excited about this record. And yeah, dropping on May 12th, and it's dropping on my birthday. And pretty interesting, actually. The label chose that date, and I don't think they knew that I'm a Taurus and that it's my birthday. But I'll tell you what, anytime I've released a record in May, I've had great luck over the years. So here we go.
I don't think you're going to have a problem with this one. I honestly have a sneaky suspicion that this one is going to do just fine.
It's been amazing, right? The record was on ice for about 2 years. The long and the short of it, and I'll let you get into your questions because they may pertain to this, was it's a double record, Volume 1, Volume 2, supposed to be released a year apart from each other. Obviously, that didn't happen because of the shutdown, and it's been on ice for 2 years. So now, you know, whenever you have something sitting in the closet and then you take it out and you're like, hey, take a look at this painting, and people are like, man, I love that. And that's the analogy. It feels good to all of us in the band because we worked very hard and the thing's getting 10 out of 10s, you know what I mean? And it feels literally like it's been sitting in a drawer for 2 years, you know what I mean? So, or a little under 2 years because we changed sequencing and things. So yeah, it's amazing.
So let me start off by asking you that, considering that it's Volume 1, Volume 2, were they both volumes part of the same creative process, or was there a difference between both records?
No, we knew, I knew from the abundance in the material that I was getting during the demo process that indeed we had enough to do a double if we wanted to and still leave 10, 15 songs on the cutting floor. So, and there's certain things you want to do before you take a slow walk in this life, you know, and one is a double record. And I've always wanted to do one, but the material has to be there. The band has to be in the right frame of mind. The label has to want it as much as you do. You know what I mean? All the stars need to align for something like that to happen. And indeed they did. And yeah, it's getting incredible marks from everybody I'm talking to. Like it's an honor to be hearing some of the compliments. It's fantastic.
Having said that, this album feels a lot darker than its predecessor. So when you guys were putting the volumes together, was there a vibe that you wanted for one volume that perhaps wasn't necessarily there in the other volume?
No, I don't think so. I think the sequencing just happened to be the way that it was, right? And the outlying song that really formed the sequence for both was Wishing, which was on Volume 1. It was like, where are we putting Wishing? Are we putting, which is my ode to Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus, all the goth that I ever grew up on. And most metal bands are held to the fire by their brand and can't go outside of the box or their fans will leave them, but we can. So I'm appreciative of that. And the thing was, where are we going to put Wishing? And when we decided to put Wishing on Volume 1, then the sequence for Volume 2 took shape. And then I changed the sequence at least 3 times for the opening track. At first it was Bloodbath, and now it's I Have No Pity. So no, we knew it was going to be a double record. We knew we had enough. And then as far as the second half being darker, it is more visceral. It is definitely more volatile. And the lyrics are as poignant as Volume 1, but it kind of ends the story, right? So it's good that you're getting this vibe from it. And plus, let me go on record, and you can probably you'll probably agree. I know most musicians and most people that interview me do agree that when a band tries to bite off a double record, usually the second half of that double record is B-sides and leftovers.
That is normally true.
Yeah, and you can tell, and you can tell, and we didn't want to do that at all. So to hear people saying what they're saying now about Volume 2, like it's been great, man. The camp is happy.
Yeah, Volume 2, in my humble opinion, is definitely, I mean, not that Volume 1 was an outstanding record, but Volume 2 is stronger because of that more visceral, darker nature that it has, or at least it just comes across differently. I was expecting actually to be the other way around. I was expecting Volume 1 to be a lot stronger than Volume 2 for the reasons that you just mentioned. So I really enjoyed that, the fact that Volume 2 brings something different to the table. Now, you mentioned the opening track. I honestly feel like that's the best song to open that record out of all the songs available, because it kind of gives you a little bit of a window of what the rest of the album is going to be all about. Is that the reason why you went back and you changed that order?
You know, I work very democratically in this band, and I let usually everybody choose the sequencing, not me. Most of the time, I want the say so on what opens the record, but I let these guys behind me sequence both records. And you know, when we had time over the shutdown, and I kept listening to the records, and you know, every once in a while, me and my wife would just put it on and jam it. I kept saying, "This doesn't feel right opening with Mantra." So I changed it to Bloodbath. Then about 4, 5, 6 months later, I said, this doesn't feel right opening with Bloodbath or Mantra. Let's change it to I Have No Pity. And once we did that, like we listened to it, it was like the whole record had changed. Like it's so strange the way that you can change a sequence of, you know, the second or third song or the first song, or even change the sequence at the back end, how it ends, and it changes the whole record. So yeah, the guy who mastered my record was literally like, Dez, this is the last time, right? Because it's not an easy process. You can't go in and just flip a switch like you're on Spotify and change the sequence to your playlist. You got to go in for 2-3 hours and dive in. And so he finally got, God bless Alan. Alan Duché has mastered some of the biggest record in history. And God bless his patience with me.
I think it was worth it, honestly.
Yeah, because I begged him to have patience at one point. Like, please have patience with me, you know?
I think it was definitely worth it. And this takes me to the other point. Listening to this record, both volumes are very concise in terms of the amount of songs and the duration, the overall length. And I honestly feel like the length of an album and the amount of songs plays a huge impact in the overall feel that the listener would get from the album going from first to last. How much of that plays a role in your mind when you're putting these songs together to not go overboard and overburden the listener with extra songs on the back end?
Right. Okay. So, you know, if you're in the music business, you'll understand this. If you're not and you're just a listener, you'll get a little knowledge here. When a record label contracts you for a record, most of the time they want 52 to 58 minutes. And I get it. They want their money's worth. They want those extra tracks, you know, that actually make the record laborious to listen to, in my opinion. And my favorite records are shorter, more concise, and to the point. And luckily I have a label that really backs me with anything I do. I didn't have to really go at them. I just said, listen, here's the way I view this double record. Yes, we're contracted for X amount of time, but I view these records as being made to listen to, volume 1, volume 2 together. Certainly once you cross the hour line, it gets boring. I said, so the records are 36, 38 minutes, right, each, and it makes it listenable to listen to volume 1 and 2 together, which is the way that they're supposed to be listened to. So, you know, I didn't want to put what I call fluff on there, you know, and I understand if they want B-sides, if they want things to release for Japan or things to release for other territories, that's great, but let's not clutter the record with 3, 4, 5 extra tracks sometimes that are not, how do I say this, are not necessary. This is going to sound terribly fucking artsy, not necessary for the art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They don't add any value to what the record is all about.
No, and I've done records that are, you know, 52 minutes long, 58 minutes long, and to be honest, you know, even though they're mine, I'm like, God, it's too long, man. It's too long. Well, this is what we're contracted for. So now I don't. Now, if I go into contracts or I go into a record, first I visualize where it's going to go. I listen to the demos and the music, and I go, okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. There may be a DevilDriver record that comes out and it's an hour and 10 minutes long. I mean, I don't know. If the music is there and it's all hitting, and you don't have a track that it's okay, put it on the record, then I'm good to go. But if you got a track that all the members are like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, even vocally, they can share their opinion with me, even if vocally, and I've had that in the past, vocally, they're like, you know, I'm not feeling this track. I either go in and try to rewrite or I dump it all together because I'm not feeling it, or what I wrote at first is the best I could possibly do to what they brought me. So yeah, it's a fucking process for sure.
I pre-recorded my review. I haven't posted on the channel yet, but I'm going to tell you what I said about your vocals. I asked the question to the camera: did somebody pissed on your cornflakes when you went into the studio because you were a man possessed vocally on this album?
Intent. I think intent is a huge thing in life, right? What was my intent? My intent was, what happens if these two records are my last records ever? What happens if these are the last records that I ever do? And now I want to sit home with my wife and run my other businesses and tour once in a while. You know, what happens if? Okay, so I do approach each record as if it could be my last, but this was specific. This was a double record. I had to be very, very poignant. I would go up, I'd run 2 or 3 miles on the treadmill before my producer got here, and I would come down sweating, like ready to go, like put the cans on my head. I'd put them on, I'd go, like push go. So at all times, it was a furious momentum. It was never coming in like, all right, well, let's see if we can get the sound, pull up the microphone, let's start the day easy. No, it was like, push the fucking button and get ready. I'm going to nail this track. Like, you're going to be out of here soon, because we record at my house. I have a booth here. Like, you're not going to be here all day. We're going to get this done. We're going to go in and cut this song like it was fucking 1972 and you got one track to do it. Let's go. And I think like Steve Evans is a great fucking producer. And I think he realized that there was something going on with me where I was like, let's go, man. Let's make this thing fucking feel like I'm running. And then I'm getting into the studio, which you heard. So
yeah, the whole album feels almost like a set list. It feels live, it feels raw, it's punchy. Pissed off, like I said, I was like, man, somebody pissed in Dez cornflakes, because he's taking no prisoners on this record. He's just like annihilating track after track after track. And then that brings me also to the lyrical content. Like, I honestly felt connected with the songs, not just from a musical standpoint, not just from your delivery, but the lyrics themselves. Like, was it different, Volume 1? Because I have to ask you this: Volume 1 to me felt more introspective. This one felt more outgoing, more like, let's cut the fat. I'm not holding anything back. I'm just letting go.
Okay. Volume 1, and this is the first time I've addressed it in all these interviews. Volume 1 was myself talking to myself about myself and what I've been through. Trying to give people the reassurance that I've been through the same thing as them, and this is how I got through it. Volume 2 was me talking to others, except the first song. So I Have No Pity. I actually got asked this question 2 days ago. What does I Have No Pity about? Who do you have no pity for? And I said, myself or you, or for anybody who steps in the shit more than 3 times. And this came about with a really good friend called me and said, hey man, such and such happened to me. And I said, bro, you can get through this. Lift your head up. You'll get through it. 2 weeks later, hey man, this happened to me again. Blah, 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 blah. Hey bro, you'll get through it. Just fucking deal with it. And the 3rd time he called me and he's like, this happened again. I said, then pack your shit and leave the house, man. Like, why do you keep walking into the same shit? I've done it. You've done it. Everybody's done it. Everybody's stepped in the shit more than 2 or 3 times. I, at this age, don't. If I go to step in it twice and I do, I correct myself very quickly and I get the fuck out of the shit. And so this is me saying, I have no pity for you if you step in your own shit 3 different times, man. So yeah, that's where the record is coming from for sure.
Vocally, which record do you feel was more demanding from you?
Ooh, difficult. They're all recorded at the same time. I didn't know what was going to be on what.
Okay.
I charged into every song as if even the ones that we had on the cutting room floor, which were many, I mean, if not 15 more, didn't make the cut. And I charged into those just as hard when I demoed them and stuff. So no, I take no prisoners when it comes to every tune. Then they reveal themselves later, kind of like, you're taking your wife out to dinner and she comes down the stairs in something beautiful you've never seen before. And you're like, fuck, this is going to be a great evening, baby. Right. And that's how it was. The songs, when we listened back, started to reveal themselves to us. So, and again, that sounds fucking artsy, but we had a lot of art to deal with. And you know, choosing off that art was not easy. So I really left it to the band. I mean, at one point I said, don't call me for a week until you guys decide which songs fit. And I think there was only one argument there, not argument, one thing there where I said, no, I don't agree with you. I think this one song should be on there. And then we moved forward. So we were all on the same page.
You know, when that happens to me, normally my wife comes down the stairs cursing at me that I'm not ready yet.
My wife will curse at me because we'll have plans. And this is because of my introspective nature and my privacy that I tend to really keep up, is that we'll have plans and she'll come downstairs dressed and I'll still be in Star Wars pajamas going, I'm not going tonight. But she's had to deal with that for 25 years because I'm such an introvert and I'm so private that I really don't do well in a big group of people. So, you know, oftentimes I'll cancel plans. It'll be last minute, but she's so gracious and grand in her perspective that she just rolls right with it. Next thing you know, we're sitting on the bed with 6 cats on us and just chilling. So
you guys had a change in guitar players. You have Alex Lee on the team now. Since the whole Volume 1 and Volume 2 came together almost at the same time, did he have any impact on these songs?
No. Alex came in after the fact. Neil, who was in the band for a while, he was a fill-in guitar player, but he did a couple records with us. The country record, I think Trust. Yeah, I think. Well, he did a couple records with us, and great guy, great guitar player. But we always knew he didn't fit. We always knew he wasn't the permanent guy. But when guys are just nice guys, easy to tour with, and they're great players, you keep on rolling. But he had other things he wanted to do as well. So getting Alex now is incredible. Mike made the comment to me probably the 5th day of tour. Mike's like, this is the best guitar player I've ever played with. And I said, good, because Alex is our forever guy. I mean, before Alex came in, I said, look, I don't know if I got 20 years or 25 years. I don't know if I got 5 years. I have no idea. I said, but I want you to see me out. And he's like, I'll be here. I'm in. And I had toured with him before. DevilDriver took a band called Holy Grail out, and he was the guitar player. And he was just such a nice guy on tour. Every time I ran into him backstage, you know, I felt the guy's vibe. He's real cool. He's humble. You know, doesn't get anybody's way. He's awesome. You know, the other changes that we had were actually very positive as well. Austin on drums, he had a bad drug problem when he was on tour with DevilDriver, and thank God that he had the wherewithal to go get himself sober, go to a rehab, and when he did that, I guess he showed so much promise at what he'd been through. They asked him to stay back and help manage the facility and help other people with their life get clean. So that was like, you know, oftentimes, you know, guys leave because there's a beef, but no, he left and there's applause all around for him staying back. You know, his girlfriend works at the place as well. So him staying back to help people. Great. Another great guy as well. Just great guy.
You mentioned the word tour a few times. I have to ask you guys this. I know you're coming back on the road with Cradle of Filth for the Double Trouble second leg. Are you guys playing in Toronto? Because you completely skipped us the first time around.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry about that. And this is the first interview that I'll say this right now, so I'll just address it. There's going to be 3 legs in the United States and Kansas. Actually, we're putting Kansas on this one, so that's where that came from. And I just looked at the routing, so a little bit of Freudian slip, and Canada as well. So, you know, if we were to do it, it would have been like a 9-10 week tour. And to be honest with you, I'm not looking to do that in my life anymore. You know, I've done the 3-month tours. I've done the, 295 days on the road for like 20 years. And I'm just not looking for that. I like nice short runs, you know, give me 3 weeks to a month and I'm in and out. So yeah, the second leg will be all through the South, some of the Midwest, and we'll hit New York City. But beyond that, the third leg will be second quarter next year. And that's definitely coming tons of East Coast states, Midwest states, and all through Canada. And I mean, every single market. Yeah.
All right. I look forward.
Yeah, I mean, this came together like I also have the privilege of managing Cradle of Filth, but Danny and I are really great friends. I love that guy. He's a consummate artist. He's a gentleman, very well schooled. I have a foul mouth. He does not. It's wonderful when we're on the phone. You know, he's so schooled. He's so literate. I kind of come from the streets and I'm a little more rough and raw, but we realized that he's liked my bands and I've liked his bands for a very long time. We've never toured together. So I was like, bro, now is the time. Like, time is of the essence. I don't know when I'm going to step away from what I'm doing. Let's tour together. And so we're trying to elongate it as much as we can. If I could have taken long plane flights this year, or even the beginning of next year, we would have done Australia, the UK, the EU with this team. So we'll see how long that it goes. I mean, of course, Cradle of Filth on a live record just got released. It's going to debut very high as well, which I'm proud of because I'm the manager. And then, you know, my record comes out next week on my birthday. So yeah,
I actually talked to Danny, I think 2 weeks ago or a week ago, something like that. He mentioned to me that they're recording a new studio album as well, so they're busy.
Oh yeah.
And that's when he mentioned the second leg, and I was like, oh, I really hope for a Toronto date, because I haven't seen DevilDriver in Toronto in ages, and Cradle hasn't played here in 2 years. I know 2 years is nothing, but there's a huge following of Cradle fans here, so it's always a pleasure to have them.
Of course. And what was really cool is, like, people were like, how is this going to work? Like, Cradle of Filth and DevilDriver, I mean, it's so different, but I swear to God, that's what makes it work. Everybody on that last tour was so different from one another musically. And I think people really loved that. Every night I would say, how many people have seen DevilDriver live? Half the crowd would put their hands up. How many people first time? Half the crowd. So I knew it was half Cradle, half DevilDriver crowd, and we were packing houses. So anything you can do together that makes you stronger, it's very Art of War, very Machiavelli, but anything you can do together that makes you stronger, you do. And plus, touring with them is just a pleasure. I mean, we're all fucking laughing all the time, you know, crazy antics backstage, fun shit. You know, the last show they ran out with costumes on, and you can see it on YouTube. They ran out with these fish costumes on, and like tied balloons to all of us and stuff. And to be honest with you, I've been on tour for a very long time. And when I'm headlining or when I'm co-headlining, I always tell the bands, don't do that shit. Like, I know it's fun for you and everybody's supposed to, like, the last show, everybody's supposed to prank each other. I've never been down with that. I got a fucking job to do. I want everybody to see me pro and on point at this venue. And here comes Cradle of Filth in fish costumes with 100 balloons. And you could see me on the YouTubes, like, fucking, I can't even get through the song. I'm laughing so hard and pointing at Danny as if to, like, oh, I'm gonna fucking get you for this, you know. And anyways, they're the first band that came out and just said, fuck it, we're definitely gonna prank you. And
they obviously didn't ask their manager for his opinion.
No, they did not. And I swear to God, that was probably one of the funnest things I've had happen to me on tour. So yeah, I love touring with them. Obviously a legend and a huge legacy in Cradle of Filth, and we're building it bigger over here with the Oracle management every single day. So I'm very proud of not only the behind the scenes working with them, but, you know, us touring together is just, it's really a match made in heaven. And it's fun to tour with bands where there's no fucking ego and no bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, no one's like fighting for the fucking biggest dressing room. You know, if there's only one big dressing room, we just share it. It's like, it's great.
And this brings me to my last question, which is, how hard is it for you? Because I know how much work you do. I know how many bands you work with. I know you got a packed schedule. I can't even imagine what your calendar looks like. So how hard is it becoming for you to find time for the musical side, for the artist side, considering how much time you have to give to other artists with your other business?
It's easy. The artist time comes at night and it's my time. So it's very easy. So, I mean, plus you have to keep a packed schedule to keep up with me. So my alarm goes off. My daily ritual is my alarm goes off at 4:15, 4:30 a.m. I get up 4:30 a.m. to 5. That's prayer time to the universe, where I say thank you. At 5:15, I'm on the treadmill. I'm in the gym. At 5:45, I'm off the treadmill. At 6, I'm out of the gym. At 6:15, I eat. At 6:30, I shower. I'm on the phone the whole time I'm in the gym. I'm on the phone the whole time I'm eating. I take a real quick shower, I get back in the business. So the thing with us is when we started the management company, I was like, what do we want out of this? I just don't want to be like other managers. Many other managers are in the office at 10 a.m., out of the office at 4 p.m. So we're in at 5 a.m. and I'm returning emails. And we work till about 11 o'clock at night. I have ADHD and ADD. I only sleep about 4 or 5 hours a night since I was a kid. It drove my mom crazy. It drives my wife insane. But I find work comes very easy for me. So since I suffer heavily from ADHD, I can multitask like nobody. I mean, I run 4 major companies. I run Sun Cult, which is in Zoomies, malls out here, 600-700 stores. We're going into Tilly's now in the mall. They have like 1,000 stores. I day trade as well, crypto and stocks. So I've got computers running around me at all times. I'm running a management company. I'm helping to run 2 other bands. And then I've got also a cannabis company that's going into 1,000 dispensaries starting next week. And that's been a year-long work of love. It's called the High Outlaw. So it's going to be, I enjoy working, right? I'm not a kind of guy who can sit there and watch TV. That's not me, right? I'll stress lax. I'll sit there and try to relax, but I'll be stressing out. It's more beneficial to me and my character to actually work, be on the computer, making calls. Of course, on Sundays, I take chill time. I'm Italian. My family's here. We have lunch. It's mandatory. The kids are here for 2-3 hours, on a Sunday. And then I chill out with the wife. But other than that, I enjoy what I do. And that's another thing. I think if you have passion for what you do, if you enjoy what you do, it's really not work. I mean, don't get me wrong. Managing a huge roster like we have can be stressful, but luckily I have a lot of help. I mean, my wife is a CEO. She's a manager, Anastasia. I manage. My middle son, Caleb, is an assistant. He's a manager as well. I've got 2 other assistants that help. When you email in at info@the-oracle, they're taking those. And I've got another manager that I'm talking to now about bringing him on. But I think he's got to understand the hours, right? Because it was like, well, what time do you want to come in the office? Well, I normally like to get up, hit the gym, and I come in the office about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I was like, you can't work with me. Like, if you're not on the phone, if you're not on the phone at 5:15 a.m. and you're ready to take calls, you cannot work with me. So I get a lot of tours for my bands, a lot of tours for all of our bands, actually, between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. And I've had managers say, well, how'd you get that tour? How'd you find out about that tour? It's because I'm not fucking asleep till 9 a.m., 10 a.m., man. This just doesn't ring with me, So yeah, that's the long answer to the short question.
And I love it. What a way to finish this chat that we were having. Dez, thank you very much for your time. I know you're super busy, as you just outlined it. I'm really hyped to have you on the channel. I've been looking forward to this chat for a very long time. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Really, thank you for taking the time and chatting with me.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate everybody. Pick up the record. We're real proud, and we'll see you out there real soon. And again, thank you for your time as well.
Thank you. Take care, man. All the best.
Ciao, ciao.